Hey everybody, it's Courtney, and I am getting an early start on my Christmas cards this year because I have a ton to send out. So my first card I'm using here, this Spellbinders stamp. This is the Sentiments Wreath stamp, and this is pretty much all you need for the card. It's a pretty large image, and this is a rubber stamp, so you want to make sure that you take out your little foam pad there if you're using your MISTI. And I'm stamping this on a piece of Neenah Solar White 80-pound cardstock cut down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I'm stamping this with Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink because I will be doing Copic coloring. And I had a feeling I was going to have to stamp this twice. Plus I wanted to stamp it once my coloring was done to get those bold black outlines back without having to trace the whole thing. So once my panel was stamped out, I took a piece of Simon Says masking paper and also stamped my image on that. And I'll just fussy cut this out so that I can mask out my image before I do my ink blending. I left my stamp right in the MISTI because I knew I wanted to keep that in the same exact spot so that once I was done with my coloring, I could restamp it. Now I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut my mask here, and this is pretty intricate. There's a lot of spaces between these leaves, and I'm not really worried about it. I figured I'll fill in those empty spaces with my Copic markers later. So I'm just basically doing the general outline and getting as close to that little banner where the sentiments are as possible, just because I didn't want to have to fill in that area. But between the little leaves in the middle of the wreath, I'm not too worried about it. So I'm just skipping that. Once my mask is all cut out, I did go ahead and mask out my image on my card panel. This was a little bit hard to line up, probably because I didn't cut it out all that great. But once that was stuck down, I will be taking antique linen, and this is regular distress ink, because I'm going to do Copic coloring right on top of it. So I don't like to use my oxides when I'm coloring directly over it. It kind of gets a little bit muddy unless you're using it as watercolor. So I covered up the entire panel with the antique linen. I'm not doing any kind of blending here. My blending will all be done with my Copic markers, but I pretty much did this just because I wanted to save Copic ink. Copic ink is a lot more expensive than distress ink. So I figured this would be the cheapest way, even though it ended up not being cheap at all because I went over the entire thing with my Copics anyway. Now I didn't cut the center of the wreath either because, like I said, I can fill that in with my Copics later. Once my panel was covered with that antique linen, I removed my mask and we'll move on to the Copic coloring. I'm going to be starting off with the leaves of the wreath. And I'm just going to show you a few here just to show you my color combinations. I used 3 different color combinations so that I had different color leaves. I'm just starting off with my darkest color here and just putting a flick or two right there in the center of the leaf from the bottom up. Then I'm blending that out with my mid-tone color, and then I'll go in with my lightest color and fill in the entire area. These are pretty small. I'm not really worried too much about shading, just as long as the leaf itself has a little bit of dimension, but I'm not worried about creating shadows where one leaf is hanging over the other. There's just too many, and I would be there for hours if I did that. So I'm just creating the dimension within each leaf. For my next color combination, I am using my G28 as my darkest color. Moving on to the G46, blending that flick out just a little bit. And then finally to my G21 and filling in the entire leaf. I'm just kind of spreading these out. There's really no rhyme or reason. Just I wanted different colors in there. Now to brighten things up a little bit, I added some YG markers, except for the YG 90s. A little bit brighter here. My darkest is actually a G09, but again, just putting a flick or two right there in the center from the bottom up. Then I'll go in with my YG06 and I'll blend that out a little bit, and then go to my YG03 and cover up the entire leaf. I won't show you all these leaves. I colored them off camera. It did take a little bit of time, but like I said, I really wasn't worried too much about shading, so it wasn't too bad. Next, for the banner here, I'm covering up the entire thing with my lightest color, which is the R22, mainly because I wanted to keep track of what I'm coloring rather than going in a little bit at a time. This banner is kind of wrapped underneath some of these leaves, but there are some white spots too. There's some blank spots there too. So I didn't want to get them confused. So I figured the best way to do it would be to just cover up everything with my lightest color. Next, I'll move on to the darkest color. This is an R89. I'm just doing a few little flicks on either side of the little banner. Then I'll blend that out with my R46. Then move on to my R27 and then finish blending that out with going back to my lightest color, the R22. I pretty much shaded this the same way for the banner that's kind of underneath the leaves. I did add a little bit of shading or shadowing, I should say, underneath some of the leaves. So the little bitty parts of the banner that are pretty much under the leaves and you can only see a little bit, it's pretty much just going to be the dark color. I'm not really worried about adding a highlight color there because naturally anything that would be under that amount of leaves would be dark. I'll just show you one more banner here, but I colored these all the same. And you can see once you start adding your darkest colors, your sentiments, your words start to kind of start blending in, but we'll fix that later by restamping the entire image. Once all of my red was complete, I added a little bit of shading to my white areas with my C3 and my C1. I'm just adding just a little bit of the C3 on either end of the banner and then extending that out a little bit with the C1, blending that right out to white. I want these to appear white, but I did want just a little bit of shading. There were a few areas that I kind of went out of the lines, so I'm taking my colorless blender here and fixing those areas up before I went in with my C markers, just because the colors were a little bit darker and I didn't want them to show through and I didn't want to have to use my colorless blender afterwards and take away my gray. You'll see that I skipped a few leaves. I kind of knew that that was going to happen. I kept all of my green markers out because I had a feeling that there was just so many leaves that I was bound to miss one here and there. So I'll just go back in and fill those in as I see them. Now for these other areas that I kind of went out of the lines where it is actually white, normally I do not use a colorless blender when it comes to reds, but I didn't want to use a white gel pen because it would be too different from the gray shading. So I did end up using my colorless blender and I just was really careful just to barely touch the tip of the marker to the paper. That way my red wouldn't bleed too much. Now here I'm just filling in some of those leaves that I missed or forgot about, and we will move on to the background. I'm going to be using my E30 markers, and this matches the E31 and E30, I would say matches the antique linen pretty good, but I'm going to go right in with my darkest color, and I'm just adding my shadow. So I wanted this wreath to appear like it was hanging on a wall or a door. So I'm adding my shadows as if my light source is in the top right corner. I've watched so many Kelly Latavola videos and that's the light source she always uses, and that's how I learned how to Copic color, by watching her videos. So I kind of got in the same habit by just copying what she did. Now for the center, being we don't have any distress ink there, I'm just going to fill that in with my Copics, but I will add my shadow to the inside off to the left, or I'm sorry, to the right, because that would be where the shadow would be, on the inside of the wreath. I filled in, no, I lie. Now I'm going in with my wood grain. This is a really easy way to do a wood grain background, especially when it's such a large area. This is one of my mid-tone colors. I'm just doing squiggly lines, barely touching the tip of the marker to the paper, and I'm covering up the entire panel. my marker's kind of skipping in some areas just because I'm very, very lightly touching it. And none of these lines should look the same. They shouldn't look straight. They shouldn't look similar to the one next to it. For the center, I'm doing the same thing, but before that, I'm filling the entire area in with my E30, which closely matches the antique linen, and again, just putting some of those squiggly lines in the center. I'm using that same E33 to extend my shadow out that we created with the E37. And then we'll move on to the E31. And I'm going to extend these shadows out even further, just blending those out to the background. Now the areas in between the leaves where we didn't cut a mask would naturally be darker because they would create shadows on themselves basically. So all these little areas in between the leaves, I'm going to color in with my E31, which is just a little bit darker than the antique linen. And for the little gaps on the outside of the wreath that I didn't cut my mask good enough to cover, I'm going to go in with my E30, which is just a little bit lighter, just because those areas would not have as much of a shadow as the inside of the wreath. Now, normally when I do the wood grain background, I do it all in Copics. I don't put a base layer of distress ink down, so it wasn't blending because naturally I didn't put a layer of the Copic ink on top of it. So I liked how the center looked much more than the rest of the card panel. So after I used my E30 to extend this shadow out a little bit further, I did end up going over the entire panel with that E30, as well as these little gaps on the outside of the wreath, which kind of defeated the whole purpose of using the distress ink. I added a few little more squiggly lines this time with my E31 rather than the E33, just hoping to blend it out and lighten it up a little bit, and I still wasn't liking it. So this is when I decided to just take the E30 and go over the entire panel, and it did blend it out a little bit. It's still a very easy background to accomplish with or without the distress inks. Once my panel was all colored, I will put my panel back into my MISTI, and I'm going to restamp right over top of where we stamped before, just to kind of bring out those sentiments mainly. They kind of disappeared into the red a little bit, so this will help to bring those out a little bit. And last, just to add a little bit of sparkle, I am using the glitter Nuvo drops here, and these are just the clear ones, and I'm going over the banners. You can use a Wink of Stella here, but I like to have just a little bit of dimension, and this has a ton of sparkle in it. It's kind of like a Stickles, and I'm just covering up this entire area using the little nozzle there to kind of spread it out and even it out. And this will dry a lot more clear. I know it looks a little bit cloudy now, but as it dries, it does clear, and you're just left with all of that sparkle. Once that was dry, I did adhere this flat onto an A2 size note card, and I didn't add anything else. I kept this one nice and simple. But that is it for the very first Christmas card of this season. Thank you guys so much for stopping by, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Bye.